Have you ever wondered why China is considered a global powerhouse while India, despite its massive population and potential, still lags behind in many areas? From infrastructure to technology, from trade to global influence, China's rise is staggering, and India's growth, though impressive, hasn't yet reached the same scale. Today, we break down the facts. Imagine a country creating the largest high-speed rail network in the world, while another struggles to modernize basic transportation. China's GDP today stands at over $18 trillion, PPP, making it the world's second largest economy, while India's GDP is about $13 trillion, PPP. China's manufacturing sector contributes over 27% of its GDP, compared to India's 17%, giving China a massive edge in exports, industrial output, and global trade influence. China's long-term economic planning allows it to invest heavily in infrastructure, technology, and urbanization, with projects like the Belt and Road Initiative, which extend its economic footprint globally. Meanwhile, India faces challenges such as fragmented infrastructure, slower urbanization, and regulatory hurdles that slow economic expansion. Did you know that China has built more high-speed rail than the rest of the world combined, while India is still planning its first high-speed corridor? Imagine a country deploying AI and 5G at scale, while another struggles to provide nationwide internet access. China leads in AI 5G deployment, e-commerce, and digital payments. The digital yuan, a government-backed digital currency, is now in pilot across dozens of cities, while India is experimenting with Unified Payments Interface, UPI, which is growing fast but still limited in global impact. China invests billions annually in quantum computing, robotics, renewable energy tech, and semiconductor development. India has pockets of technological innovation, but lacks the same coordinated state-led investment strategy. China has over 1.5 billion 5G connections projected by 2025. India? Only about 50 million today, a stark contrast in digital infrastructure. What if a country could connect all its major cities with high-speed rail and modern airports, while another struggles with congested roads and limited metro lines? China has invested over $14 trillion in infrastructure over the past 2 decades, creating modern highways, high-speed rail, ports, and urban transit systems. India, though rapidly expanding, is still playing catch-up, with major metro lines only in a few cities and road networks that struggle under population pressure. Urbanization in China is at 63%, compared to India's 35%, giving China a stronger economic base, easier service delivery, and more efficient population concentration. China has built more than 40,000 kilometers of high-speed rail, connecting cities in hours. India's entire planned high-speed rail network is less than 1,500 km. Can you imagine the difference in mobility and economic efficiency? China doesn't just grow economically. It shapes global trade, politics, and development standards. India's influence is still emerging. Through the Belt and Road Initiative, infrastructure diplomacy, and global trade dominance, China influences over 60 countries economically. India, while diplomatically active, has a smaller footprint, limited trade corridors, and comparatively lower global investment influence. China's state-backed economic strength allows it to negotiate and shape international projects, global technology standards, and regional geopolitics. India is increasing its footprint, but is still constrained by internal development challenges and slower economic growth. Did you know China accounts for more than 20% of global manufacturing output and exports more than $3 trillion annually? India's exports are around $500 billion, a significant gap that affects global economic leverage. Economic growth alone isn't enough. Education, healthcare, and poverty reduction are critical. China lifted over 800 million people out of poverty in the last 40 years, creating a large middle class. India has made progress, but still has over 300 million people living under poverty lines. Education. China has world-class universities producing hundreds of thousands of STEM graduates annually, supporting technological innovation and workforce efficiency. India produces a large number of graduates, but faces challenges in quality and skill alignment with industrial demands. Healthcare. China's public health system is extensive and rapidly modernizing. India's healthcare infrastructure is still developing, with disparities in rural areas. China's systematic, state-led planning, massive investment in infrastructure, technology, education, and global strategy has allowed it to surpass India in nearly every measurable metric. Economic power, technology, infrastructure, global influence, and social development. India has enormous potential and is growing fast, but the gap with China highlights the importance of coordinated planning, investment, and long-term strategy. In today's world, China serves as a global benchmark for rapid national development, while India's journey continues with lessons to learn from its neighbor's success. The question is not just who is ahead today, but who can transform potential into power fastest in the 21st century. When comparing the development trajectories of China and India, it becomes clear that both countries represent two different models of growth shaped by history, governance, demographics, and economic strategy. China's development has largely been driven by centralized long-term planning, heavy infrastructure investment, rapid industrialization, and export-oriented manufacturing. This model allowed China to achieve extremely fast economic expansion, lift hundreds of millions out of poverty, and establish itself as a dominant global manufacturing and technological force. Its coordinated policy execution and large-scale state investment have accelerated modernization and urban development at an unprecedented pace. India, on the other hand, follows a democratic and market-driven development model. While this approach often results in slower decision-making and policy implementation, it also encourages private sector innovation, entrepreneurial growth, and a strong service-based economy. India's strengths are particularly visible in information technology, software services, digital finance innovation, and its rapidly expanding young workforce, which positions it as a major long-term growth contender. Economically, China currently maintains a significant advantage in industrial output, infrastructure capacity, global trade dominance, and manufacturing scale. Economically, China currently maintains a significant advantage in industrial output, infrastructure capacity, global trade dominance, and manufacturing scale. From a geopolitical perspective, China has established a broader global infrastructure and trade footprint, while India is expanding its diplomatic partnerships, regional influence, and economic alliances through a gradual but steady approach. Ultimately, this comparison is not about declaring a permanent winner. Instead, it highlights how different governance structures, economic strategies, and societal frameworks can produce different types of national success. China demonstrates the effectiveness of centralized planning and rapid execution, while India represents resilience through democratic governance and private sector-led expansion. The future global balance of power may depend not only on economic size, but also on innovation, sustainability, population dynamics, and adaptability to global challenges. If you found this comparative analysis insightful, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share your perspective in the comments. Which development model do you think is more sustainable for the future, and why? Stay tuned for more fact-based global analysis where we break down complex world topics into clear, research-driven insights.